Hey guys, I'm Jared, and today we're talking about what's new in board gaming as of July 8th, 2022. I'll be covering the latest news, announcements, most played games, hot new Kickstarters, and crowdfunded games, and more related to board gaming for the past 2 weeks. At the end, I'll also be sharing what's going on behind the scenes with my YouTube channel, Meeple Mentor. So stick around, we've got a lot to cover. Leave me a like and comment on what kinds of updates that you want to hear more about. To make sure that you don't miss my news updates, new video tutorials, and our podcast episodes, be sure to subscribe on YouTube and your preferred streaming platform. We're starting off our crowdfunding with some titles that can be backed on GameFound. Summit, Sanity, and Big Box is available until July 19th. The final expansion in the Summit series, Sanity, brings another dimension of play and immersion as players attempt to harness focus and sanity in their plight to survive the world's deadliest mountain. The game has solo, cooperative, competitive, and teams modes. The Big Box provides more storage room for the card game and its expansions. It is for 1 to 6 players, ages 14 and up, and provides a playtime of 90 minutes. The Button Shy reprint campaign is also on GameFound until July 9th. In this reprint of long-lost fan-favorite wallet games, the fans have picked the selections to be reprinted. Included are Spaceship and Spaceship Lockdown, the previously unreleased expansion, Revolver Noir and Revolver Noir Rogue Agents, another previously unreleased expansion, Wonder Tales, with a new unreleased expansion entitled Rumpelstiltskin and Magic and Mayhem Solo, Rage More Tides, Mint Julep. Plant Girl Game is a tabletop role-playing game about a family of plant children working together to prevent ecological disaster in their small town. Plant Girl Game is for 3 to 5 players and a game master, and can be played as a one-shot or campaign. It uses a mixture of moves and skill checks guided by a play-to-find-out modality. Each player makes a character by choosing from one of 9 playbooks, each representative of a different genus of succulent, then answering questions to describe their relationships to NPCs and other player characters. It's for ages 8 and up and has a playtime of 2 hours. You can back it on GameFound until July 20th. Reiner Knizia's multi-award-winning Amun-Ra is back with a 20th anniversary edition, with art from Vincent Dutrait Art, 3 expansions, and 8 Egyptian god miniatures. Play through the Old Kingdom and the New Kingdom of ancient Egypt, bidding for control of provinces and building great pyramids throughout the land. Now extended to an 8-player capacity, you can also build a personal tomb with the Afterlife expansion. Also included are 20th anniversary components. It's available on GameFound until July 27th. Eurydice Games has a new campaign on GameFound. This campaign introduced a new standalone expansion called Xeno Wars to the Flick Fleet Space Battle Dexterity game. Xeno Wars adds 2 new alien species to Flick Fleet, along with multiplayer rules that allow you to play Flick Fleet with up to 4 players when combined with the base game. Flick Fleet is a tactical 2-player space battle dexterity game in which you flick your ships into position and then flick dice at your opponent's ships to damage their systems and destroy them. It's for 2 to 4 players ages 8 and up and has a playtime of 20 minutes. You can back it until July 18th. The mysterious gnome lands battle against each other for the planet Earth. Humor and absurdity accompany the whole rewritten history of humans and the universe of gnomes. Solve mysteries, discover the hidden meaning of cards, and unlock new content by just discovering secrets. Invasion Cards is an exhilarating and strategic card game for collectors and competitive friends. The game, as it launches, is 1v1 or 2v2, but future expansions will introduce a game board, more action combinations, and more smart cards, cards that have changing impacts on the gameplay as time progresses. Use your phone to scan QR codes, for example. This game is for 2 to 4 players ages 5 and up and has a playtime of 25 minutes. Find it on GameFound until August 3rd. Switching over to Kickstarters, first we have Helsinki. Discover Helsinki and manage the market on the famous Senate Square. For a unique look and feel, the Helsinki Deluxe version has double-sided UV print and 3mm laser-cut acrylic tiles. Also included in the campaign in the Deluxe bundle is Expansion 1 for Helsinki and Copenhagen Deluxe, which also has received an acrylic component upgrade. Move your player token and draw cards to build a pavilion. Gain points for finished rows and columns. It's for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up, and provides a playtime of 45 minutes. This game is available for backing on Kickstarter until July 8th, but hurry because only 2,000 copies of each deluxe edition will be produced. That's today, you gotta back it now. Mystery Dice. Dice Advent Calendar 2022 brings you Christmas in July. 24 original dice sets for the 3rd annual Robin's Nerd Supplies Advent Calendar are on Kickstarter until July 31st. The types of collection dice are Mystery Set, 24 dice, which include 3 non-matching sets and 3 extra D20s, and quite a bit more. These will include a single dice from all 24 original sets, 6 sets with 42 total dice, 6 sets of resin dice, and much more. A party game for treasure lovers is a portable party game. It's the key to unlocking treasure and fun with friends. Key Hunters is a fun, fast-paced, and turn-based card game for 2 to 6 players, or more if you combine multiple decks, that merges simplicity with portability. It only requires a small box that you can keep in your backpack, purse, or even your back pocket. You can battle your friends and family for treasure and glory anywhere and anytime in as little as 5 minutes, or as long as you desire. Back it on Kickstarter until July 24th. Bedville Carnival has made its way to Kickstarter. Gates of Bedville are opening soon. In this smart strategy game, you will play as a zombie and compete throughout the fun-packed night. This resource gathering game comes with miniatures and deluxe components in the collector's box. It's for 2 to 4 players ages 12 and up and has a playtime of 45 minutes. You can back it until July 19th. Drop Bears, a cooperative survival game for 1 to 4 players. Drop bears lurk in the Aussie bush every night. Can you survive until dawn? You may die, but there is no elimination in this cooperation game. Explore the perilous Aussie bush and collect unique Australian gear in this tile placement and resource gathering game. It's for ages 14 and up and provides a solo and co-op gameplay and provides a 30 to 40 minute playtime. Back it on Kickstarter until July 19th. Also on Kickstarter is Stonewall Uprising, the fight for gay civil rights. It's a fast-playing, 2-player historical board game portraying the struggle for gay civil rights from the 1960s through the 1980s. Guide your faction to victory through clever card play, astute planning, and a bit of luck. This game is for ages 16 and up and provides a playtime of 30 to 60 minutes. You can back it until July 18th. Snapship's Tactics Constructible Miniatures game is available for funding. Build custom modular spacecraft and battle with them in versus, co-op, or solo play. In this toy line combined with a board game, cards define your base stats, abilities, and actions. You can also choose to use a chassis preset for quick start. Power cubes are assigned to perform certain actions, then roll the dice to determine if you've made a hit. This game is for 1 or more players, ages 14 up, and provides a playtime of 30 to 60 minutes. Back it on Kickstarter until July 28th. Splintered Lands deck building game is available on Kickstarter until July 28th as well. It's a post-apocalypse themed expandable deck building game from Civil Dawn Games. There are 4 base factions, but a game is played with only 3 of them. During play, you'll seek out new characters and wall defenses by trekking out into the dunes. This 2-player game is for ages 13 and up and provides a playtime of 90 minutes. The new and expanded Company of Heroes board game returns with the campaign for the 2nd edition on Kickstarter. The Company of Heroes board game is a streamlined World War II tabletop game that intertwines tactical combat with impactful economic choices. Players maneuver units from 5 unique factions to secure resource points, grow their economy, and unlock production buildings to purchase and upgrade new units. Players level up their commanders and eventually unleash their team's powerful in-game forces to secure victory. You can fund it until July 20th. Also funding on Kickstarter until July 14th is Maid Knight Saga: The Story of Faltisia Complete Edition. This is a card drafting board game where 1 to 6 players guide students to become Maid Knights at the all-girls Faltesia Royal Academy. It's for ages 14 and up and provides a playtime of 40 minutes. The campaign for Omicron Protocol Critical Condition expansion has also hit Kickstarter. Omicron Protocol is an intra-apocalyptic, cyberpunk-themed miniatures board game for 1 to 4 players where you control a squad of unique characters and a third-party enemy to harass your opponent, or play solo cooperatively as a team to fight enemies, complete objectives, and survive. Fight to survive in a lockdown city. The expansion brings 2 new playable characters, and it's for ages 14 and up, with a playtime of 45 to 90 minutes. Back it until July 14th. Super Battle Pets, the highly strategic battle card game with 40 plus unique cutesy critters, is on Kickstarter until August 1st. This card game has event cards and action cards, and both pet and event cards can be used to attack other players. It was made with the help of over 100 kids, so it's family friendly. Also on Kickstarter is Dice Throne Santa vs. Krampus. 2 new and original Dice Throne heroes battle in this exciting, accessible, standalone dueling game. Delivered by Christmas, this fun-themed expansion to the dice and card game Dice Throne comes with detailed miniatures of Santa and Krampus. It's for 2 to 6 players ages 8 and up and has a playtime of 30 minutes. Back it until July 18th. In Royal Hospital, build, manage, and develop your own hospital. This Eurogame employs resource gathering and cards from a medical deck to hire specialists, build new premises, and more. Coordinate your ambulances and helicopters, grow the prestige of your hospital, and compete to provide the best patient care to get victory points. This game is for 1 to 4 players ages 14 and up and provides a playtime of 45 minutes. Back it on Kickstarter until August 4th. Mini Express Map Pack Expansion 1 and 2 provides 4 new maps for the Cube Rail board game Mini Express. Get the base game and expansions at the same time. The new map pack includes Taiwan, the United Kingdom, Japan, and Spain. Mini Express is a strategic board game for 1 to 5 players in which you and other wealthy capitalists manage 4 railroad companies. Through careful planning and ruthless execution, players pioneer the Western expansion of the 19th century, vying to be the most influential railroad baron and complete the Transcontinental Railroad. It's for all ages and it's on Kickstarter until July 28th. The long-awaited expansion to Era of Kingdoms Inquisition is available for backing on Kickstarter. Features 2 new paths to victory, religion and science. Manage your kingdom's religious influence by carefully selecting one of 3 belief systems that give you immediate access to 3 tiers of powerful card packs. It's available until August 3rd. In Halves, a word game for the ruthless, use your superior intellect to guess the word on your opponent's card and stop them from guessing yours. Guess, swap, bluff, or steal your way to put points on the table and be the envy of all your friends and family. Be careful though, winning cards is the easy bit, staying in the lead is where things get complicated. To win the game, simply be the person at the end with the most points. It's for 2 to 8 players ages 7 and up and provides a playtime of 30 minutes. You can back it on Kickstarter until August 2nd. Also on Kickstarter till July 21st is The Grand Carnival, both expansion and reprint. Take your carnival on the road in this campaign-based expansion to the award-winning game, The Grand Carnival. It's an action selection, tile, and polyomino placement game with some very clever twists. It's for ages 12 and up, 1 to 4 players, and provides a playtime of 60 minutes. Shadow of the Lich board game is a cooperative horror board game where you attempt to save your town from the spreading influence of an undead sorcerer. Every game of Shadow of the Lich will be different and exciting because of the challenges faced and items gained, which differ each time. The card and dice game is for 2 to 6 players, 12 and up, and it's on Kickstarter until July 29th. Neko Boss is a 2 to 4 player abstract strategy game. Make more cat herds than your competitors to win. Players need to move and stack their cats around Neko Town to take control of the streets. As the cat stack grows, those cats can travel further. This game features handcrafted ceramic tile cats. There is also a solo mode. Back it on Kickstarter till July 22nd. Kitty Committee is a chaotic strategy game for cat people where you manage resources to please your kitties or sabotage your enemy. It's for 3 to 6 players ages 10 and up and provides a playtime of 60 minutes. Find it on Kickstarter until August 6th. Finally, finishing out the crowdfunding for this video, we have Bog Call, the ancient game from Nepal. Bogkal or Bogchal trap tigers and devour goats in this ancient Nepali two-player abstract strategy game. The objective as goats is to trap all 4 tigers, and the game is played in 2 phases. Use the tokens to move the tigers and goats to try to capture all or one of the other. This game is for 2 players ages 6 and up and has a playtime of 15 minutes. Back it on Kickstarter until July 26th. Moving on to industry news, Capstone Games announced Capstone Plus, a new subscription service that offers direct-to-consumer discounts. Capstone Games' new subscription service runs $20 per year for a membership. It offers consumers 20% off everything on their website, which includes items that are already discounted. Members will also be entitled to priority shipping, where members' orders will take precedence over other shipments. Additionally, members will receive a newsletter with product announcements, including information about restocks and members-only offers. Quartermaster Logistics promoted Seth Greer to the role of president, and PhD Games hired Eric Peterson as their national sales manager. Seth Greer will move from his role as vice president of Quartermaster Logistics to fill the role of president. Steve Jackson Games also announced that their CEO Phil Reed has joined the inaugural Community Advisory Council for Kickstarter. The council will offer insight from an array of creative disciplines and help identify issues, questions, and opportunities that Kickstarter may not be able to identify on their own. PhD Games also made a significant hire as they announced that Eric Peterson will be their first national sales manager. Comic publisher Scout Comics and Entertainment and game publisher The Op have entered a first look agreement that will cover all Scout Comics properties. Under the agreement between the 2 companies, The Op will have the first opportunity to produce and develop board games based on all Scout Comics titles, such as Stabbity Bunny, White Ash, Eternus, and Unicorn. Employees at Dungeons & Dragons and Magic the Gathering maker Wizards of the Coast lambasted parent company Hasbro for what they characterize as the toy giant's complete lack of a response to the U.S. Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which is the linchpin in the country's abortion and reproductive rights legislation. An open letter published on June 27th described the unnamed employees' dissatisfaction and encouraged their co-workers to take a day of solidarity and reflection on Wednesday, June 29th. The letter was published to Twitter by a new account calling itself Wizards for Justice. As of the time of this writing, the thread had accumulated over 800 retweets and quoted retweets on the social media platform, and a screenshot of the letter hosted on Imgur had been viewed more than 26,000 times. Dized, a digital companion app, helps publishers make their games more accessible to players, and plenty of publishers are jumping on board the Dized train. Dized was originally funded through Kickstarter in January 2019 and has been progressing and improving ever since. Dized tutorials allow players to skip the rulebook and start playing board games right out of the box. This means players can learn the game as they are playing, a method common to modern video games. For more information on the Dized digital companion app and the game tutorials it supports, check out the Dized website. The app can be viewed online or downloaded from Google Play or the App Store. Ghost Galaxy Incorporated, a new company owned by Fantasy Flight Games founder Christian Peterson's venture vehicle Strange Stars LLC, has acquired the intellectual property and card game rights to Keyforge from Fantasy Flight, the company's just announced. This is the 3rd acquisition of former Fantasy Flight Games assets by Peterson Companies. He acquired the print-on-demand business of Asmodee North America in October 2019 and operates it under the name Artiforge, and bought the old Fantasy Flight Games Center, now operated as Games Center, last year. Steamforged Games announced that they have acquired the Euthea IP in a partnership deal with Dea Games, a Czech game studio. Euthea Torment of Resurrection is a fantasy sandbox RPG that allows players to wander through an open world generated by modular map tiles. A new Euthea Kickstarter is scheduled to begin on July 26th this year. It will feature 3 pledge levels, and all of the content from the Kickstarter campaign will be Kickstarter exclusives and won't get into retail. Steamforged Games hired Gabe Hicks as their new senior game designer, the company just reported. Hicks had worked for several companies before landing at Steamforged. He helped design the Essence system for Renegade Game Studios and contributed to Andrew McNeil's Flames of Freedom. In his new role, Hicks will be working on developing new game systems and building new products based on Steamforged's roster of IPs. Finally, in industry news, Gen Con LLC released their 2022 Trade Day event schedule for Gen Con Indy 2022, which happens on Wednesday, August 3rd. This year's Trade Day features multiple events by top-tier companies as well as other informational events. These panels are primarily focused on education for retailers, educators, librarians, and other games industry professionals. Let's get to some exciting game announcements. First up, Alderac Entertainment Group and Flatout Games will bring Verdant, a houseplant collection board game, to retail soon. In Verdant, players take on the role of houseplant enthusiasts trying to make their interior space more cozy. This game supports 1 to 5 players ages 10 and up and plays in 30 to 45 minutes. Rose Gauntlet Entertainment will release Keystone North America, a new ecology board game, into retail. In this game, players assume the roles of biologists trying to interconnect an ecosystem. This is accomplished through the strategic placement of cards that add keystone wildlife to the board. This game is for 1 to 4 players ages 10 and up and plays in 30 to 60 minutes. Bandai will release Dragon Ball Super Card 5th Anniversary Set into US retail this October. This new anniversary card set features 18 new cards that collectors receive 2 copies of each in the set. These 18 new cards come in silver card types as well. The box also comes with 2 5th Anniversary booster packs, which have 12 cards each, and an SCR pack that contains 1 card. Rio Grande Games will release Dominion Hinterlands 2E into retail in July. Rio Grande continues with its reprints of the expansions of the popular deck-building game Dominion by updating the 6th expansion in the line, Hinterlands. The updated version of this expansion will add 9 new cards to the mix, which will replace cards from the 2011 edition. Rio Grande will also be offering an update pack for this expansion for players with the first edition of the game who want to add the new cards. Flat River Group will release Assassin's Creed Brotherhood of Venice, a new miniatures board game by Triton Noir, into retail in Q4. In this cooperative game, players dive into the Italian Renaissance to play through a story-driven campaign, 26 Memories in Venice. This game is for 1 to 4 players ages 14 and up, and plays in 30 to 60 minutes. Fans of American sitcoms can bring a slice of that flavor to the regular board game nights now that both Ted Lasso and Parks and Recreation have been adapted into lightweight party games, courtesy of Funko. Both boxes have been spotted in the wild already, but are planning a wider release sometime this summer. Designer Christian Martinez and publisher Matago previously teamed up to release Innis in 2016. Innis is a drafting area majority game where players compete to achieve one of 3 different victory conditions. Matago has dubbed Innis the first installment of their political trilogy, and the second is going to be Galactic Renaissance, projected to release in Q1 2023. Galactic Renaissance will use mechanisms reminiscent of Innis, like action drafting, area majority, modular board, and in a sci-fi setting. 1 to 4 players will lead factions to explore planets, reconnect with lost civilizations, and expand their influence by building embassies. So generally, attempt to sow disorder in the opposing factions. Using deck building, players will start with a core deck of cards, then add unique specialists to aid in the pursuit of victory points. Multiple players can send emissaries to the same planet to compete over which faction the planet will join. Arcane Wonders has announced Furnace Interbellum, an upcoming expansion for 2020's Furnace. Interbellum will expand the player count on both ends, allowing the game to be played by 1 to 5. Furnace is an auction engine building game where players take on the role of 19th century industrialists. Furnace Interbellum extends the timeline into the 20s and 30s, which is the interwar period known as Interbellum. Gameplay in Furnace revolves around 2 phases, an auction phase and a production phase. Furnace Interbellum adds new company cards to bid on, new capitalist cards, and university cards to add managers to your factory. The expansion also includes bots to use in a solo or 2-player game. Capstone Games has announced Fire and Stone, Siege of Vienna 1683, an asymmetrical war game depicting that pivotal battle set to release on October 11th. In the game, each side uses its own unique deck of cards to launch assaults, conduct sapping operations, and pursue other tactics to delay or overcome the opposition. Both sides are in a battle against time, as the defenders must prevent the Ottomans from overrunning the walls, while the attacker must claim victory before relief arrives to rescue the defenders. The game is intended for 2 players and takes a little over an hour to play. Flat River Group announced 3 new games that will release into retail in 2022. Nicodemus returns to the original world of Imaginarium, where players repair bric-a-brac machines to score points. Players will have to manage their Charcoalium resources and machine cards to try to be the first player to score 20 or more points. This game is for 2 players, ages 14 and up, and plays in 45 minutes. In Encyclopedia, players take on the roles of aspiring naturalists and adventurers hired by Darwin's predecessor, Comte de Buffon, to create the first encyclopedia. They will conduct research, organize expeditions, and publish studies, all in an effort to become the biggest contributor to Buffon's research. This game is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, and plays in 25 minutes per player. Players can hit the dirt tracks with the newest installment of the Rallyman game series, Rallyman Dirt. This game adds new mechanics to challenge players as they race against the clock. This game is for 1 to 6 players, ages 14 and up, and plays in 60 minutes. Direwolf Digital announced Clank Catacombs, a new modular standalone deck-building adventure game for release into retail this fall. Clank returns with a new standalone offering that features a twist to gameplay. Catacombs offers players a chance to plunder a dungeon with a modular tile board that can change as players explore. As usual, the goal of the game is to enter the dungeon, loot the treasure, and escape before the dragon comes. This game is for 2 to 4 players, ages 13 and up, and plays in 45 to 90 minutes. Stonemaier Games teased Wingspan Asia, an expansion for Wingspan, which will be launched onto pre-order in Q4. This release will be the 3rd expansion for Elizabeth Hargreaves' best-selling birding game. They released very few details on the game. The only other tidbits of information doled out by Stonemaier were that the expansion focuses on the birds of Asia, and they released an image of a preview card. They plan to reveal 1 preview card per month until they make the full announcement for the expansion in Q4. The publisher behind Ticket to Ride Days of Wonder has revealed that it's releasing a new racing board game entitled Heat: Pedal to the Metal. The upcoming board game will support 1 to 6 players as they compete in a series of high-speed car races. In this multiplayer game, Heat has players directly competing with each other as they attempt to steer their vehicles around the tracks and maintain speed, aiming to be the first to pass the finish line. However, players will also have to be careful not to overheat their car engines or swerve off the track if they want to finish the race in one piece. The game itself is played through hand management, with players using their respective hands of cards to make decisions on how they choose to handle their car on each turn. It's set to be released during the Essen Spiel Convention, the largest tabletop gaming convention in the world, in October. Fantasy Flight Games will release the Scarlet Keys campaign and investigator expansions for Arkham Horror, the card game, into retail in the fall. In these expansions, investigators take on 10 scenarios that have them traveling around the globe. They are recruited by a government agency that is looking for eldritch implements called keys. Players need to find these keys before other agencies and groups, like members of the Red Coterie, get hold of them and unleash terrors from the shadows. The Scarlet Keys campaign expansion box contains the entire campaign, but it still requires a copy of the Arkham Horror the card game revised core set to play. WizKids has announced its giant mech battle betting game Atlantic Robot League, which will launch this September. In Atlantic Robot League, players bet on and then manipulate battles between gigantic fighting robots that will do battle across arenas covering multiple city blocks. It is intended for 2 to 5 players ages 12 and up and plays in around 20 minutes. Lucky Duck Games will release Tidal Blade's Banner Festival, a new standalone card game, into retail in Q4. In this new game, players converge to trawl the Banner Festival. They will need to make the most profits for their trading house by selling goods, befriending the right suppliers, and making bets at the watercraft race. The game features a trick-taking mechanic that helps players gain advantages over rival merchants, and there are multiple routes to victory. Tidal Blade's Banner Festival is for 1 to 5 players ages 8 and up and plays in 30 minutes. Thunderworks Games revealed Cartographer's Map Pack 5, Carthra's Step. for the Cartographer's map drawing game, which will hit retail in July. This new pack comes with 75 double-sided new map sheets featuring twin spires and beacon ranges. It also includes 3 new scoring cards specific to this map pack, which should be used with the regular scorecards from Cartographers, A Role-Player Tale, or Cartographer's Heroes. A new version of the classic board game Puerto Rico will shift the tabletop title's focus away from the colonialist narratives towards the country's native history. The upcoming board game has been appearing on various retail sites listed as Puerto Rico 1897, with an official announcement from Ravensburger, the parent company of the new game's publisher, Alea, yet to be released. Puerto Rico 1897 will feature a very similar collection of components as the 2002 release, but according to creator Jason Perez, Shelf Stories, who has purportedly spoken with Ravensburger, the game will take place several years after the original, during a time in which the country had secured autonomy from its Spanish colonizers. There is yet to be a set release date. The designer behind The Quacks of Quedlinburg, Wolfgang Warsch, has designed yet another entry in the Ganz Schön Clever series of board games. Clever Forever will be the latest entry in the series, providing players new ways to roll dice and attempt to score more points than their opponents. Details surrounding Clever Forever are still slim, but it has been confirmed that there will be new categories for players to score points in that aren't included in previous entries in this family of board games. The categories featured in Clever Forever are yet to be announced. From Leo Colavini, designer of games like Cartagena, Carolus Magnus, and the Bridges of Shangri-La, comes a new story of animal escape and deduction, Kazuka, published by Pegasus Spiel. The players are cooperatively helping zoo animals form a plan and escape from the zoo. You'll receive item cards each turn to help formulate an escape plan, then you'll either propose a new escape attempt or abandon the current attempt. The goal is to place animals on spaces that predict how many cards of a certain color are in all players' hands. Each failure gives the animals more experience and more cards for later rounds. The game is for 2 to 6 players and is illustrated by Bartolomew Kordowski and will be available August 31st. Holy Grail Games has announced a new real-time dexterity game by designers Olivier Gregoire and Jeffrey Simon, Railroad Madness. Players use plastic 2-car trains with rolling wheels to pick up and deliver passengers, but only during a limited 15-second period of real time. The passengers are discs, which need to be stacked on the train. If they fall off, or if the train falls over, it takes time to reset. If you pass another player's station, you need to yell "ding ding" and put a coin in that player's strongbox. Money can be used to upgrade stations, generating more passengers to earn more money. The actual dexterity element in Railroad Madness is a little unclear at this point, but players will likely push or flick their trains, trying to stay within printed railroad tracks on game tiles. Railroad Madness is scheduled to crowdfund in 2023. Publisher Ludonaut has announced Precognition, a new title from designer Julien Prothier, illustrated by Sébastien Calviot. Precognition is a card drafting game about predicting a future world in order to save humans. The game features a unique dual select mechanism where the card draft can, to a certain extent, be predicted. The goal in Precognition is to collect healthy humans, which require food, medics, and protectors. The player with the most humans that are fed at the end of the game wins. Precognition is scheduled to release in English, German, and Spanish in late September this year. Pandasaurus Games has announced 2 new titles that will be released in September, Nacho Pile and Wild Style. In Nacho Pile, players push their luck by pulling chips out of the bag, trying to score as many points as possible. But if they draw matching chips, they lose everything they've pulled out of the bag that turn. Nacho Pile was created by Ken Gruel, the designer of Happy Salmon, and Pass the Pandas. It features artwork by Parla Creative. The game is intended for 2 to 4 players, ages 7 and up, and plays in under half an hour. Releases on September 7th. In Wild Style, players race to tag parts of town to claim them. In this real-time game, players grab cards as quickly as they can in order to take over train stations, residential blocks, and industrial areas so they can complete their objectives and score points. Created by Peter Ridgway and with artwork by Jappi Agancillo, Wild Style supports 2 to 5 players ages 14 and up. Games take a little over half an hour. Asmodee will release Unlock Legendary Adventures, a new escape room game by Space Cowboys, into retail on August 12th. Unlock Legendary Adventures offers 3 new escape room scenarios to challenge players. 2 of the 3 scenarios revolve around legendary literary characters Robin Hood, Dead or Alive, and Sherlock Holmes, The Case of the Burnt Angels. In the Robin Hood scenario, players need to rescue Robin from a dungeon, and the Sherlock Holmes scenario involves players helping him crack a legendary case. The third scenario, Action Story, has players chasing after a gem thief named Stella in an attempt to reclaim her stolen haul. This game is for 1 to 6 players ages 10 and up and plays in 60 minutes. In other Asmodee news, they will release 1001 Islands, a tile drafting game by Ludonaut, which will hit stores on August 18th. In this game, players take on the roles of children of Sinbad that are trying to find treasures by exploring 1001 islands. They score points by matching their dream tiles to their island tiles. Players add 1 tile to their personal board each turn to build out their island or collect dream tiles. The game takes place over the course of 16 rounds, and the player with the highest score wins at the end of the last round. This game is for 2 to 5 players ages 7 and up and plays in 30 minutes. Lastly, in game announcements, Asmodee will release Virtu, a new strategy board game by Super Meeple, into retail on August 19th. In this game, players take on the role of a prince attempting to govern a city as it exits the Middle Ages. They must help their city maintain its standing by employing the art of governance effectively. This game uses an original rondel mechanic that lays out tactical options as a wheel of cards. Turn options include sending troops, assigning agents, or increasing prestige through the work of artists, merchants, or diplomats. The goal of the game is to control Italy by the end of the game. Virtu is for 2 to 5 players ages 14 and up and plays in 60 to 150 minutes. On the Meeple Mentor YouTube channel, I've uploaded quite a few new videos, including unboxings and playthroughs. I filmed the unboxing for Garphill Games' latest 2 Kickstarters, Circadian's First Light 2nd Edition and Circadian's Chaos Order. Looking forward to trying out both of these. I got a copy of Stonemaier Games' new edition and printing of Libertalia Winds of Galecrest. It originally came out in 2012 under a different publisher, and now Stonemaier has it and updated it quite a bit. I also unboxed the Roxley Games Kickstarter Marvel Dice Throne. It comes with 8 characters to play with and has some dice trays and promo cards too. I had the privilege of previewing and creating a tutorial for an upcoming Kickstarter game from Castillo Games called Guns or Treasure. It's a bluffing card game where you're pirates making ships and sending them to attack each other. My latest off-the-shelf video recommendation series video came out this week and it was on the abstract game TAC. It's fantastic, and if you've listened much to our podcast, you know it's a favorite of ours. We recorded a full playthrough of another Kickstarter game currently funding called Nut Hunt. It's a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to seeing the final game when it comes out. For the video playthrough, we used the print and play components and substituted others for pieces needed. Check it out. Next week, look for our playthrough of Viticulture World at 4 players. We're putting that out instead of the podcast episode this coming week. Plus, I'll be releasing the tutorial for Viticulture World very soon, so stick around. Thanks for tuning in to today's news update. I appreciate your support. And remember, teach when you can, but always be learning. See you next time.